you're probably going to keep blowing accounts if you don't stop. All of a sudden, your losses become $100 instead of $1,000. Huh. So you know that feeling when you've built a strategy and then you test it and you know it works because you go do it on paper trading and it's literally perfect. But then you go live and something changes. You either blow that account, you lose all the money you put into that trade, the trades just feel wrong in general, your gut is telling you to exit the trades, but you just hold on to them, or even worse, you might double down on some of those trades, right? All because you went live. And you think, why is this happening? So first, some people might think, oh, the market is random, and you basically blame your edge, and you're like, this is just all wrong. This strategy never worked in the first place. And you think that you're weak, and you think that the strategy is the problem, but the truth is, the strategy is not failing. It's you. Most day traders actually think that their account blowups are about discipline, or it's about greed, or it's about fear, or it's about all these other terms that are thrown around. And some people might go as far as to blame it on bad luck. And some of those things may be true in some aspects, but they're really not the root. And if you solve those, they're not going to solve your problem, because the root of the problem is a lot deeper, but it is very subtle. See, your brain changes under pressure. And no matter how much you try to convince yourself out of this, the stock market is a pressurized environment, whether you like it or not. So when a trade goes against you, right? And when the money is real, when your plan actually hits the real market, you change. Your decisions change, your actions change. The strategy does not change. It's you. So I'm going to break this down very simply, because you can enter a trade with one purpose. Click buy or click sell is really 50-50 chance. It's not that complicated. Called or puts, long or short. Maybe you're scalping volatility. Maybe it's taking advantage of trading inside of a range. Maybe it's a swing setup. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. I'm indifferent to whatever you trade. But whatever it is, there's a job and a very defined reason on why you might be in that trade, right? But the moment you enter, you start to manage that trade. And the problem is, most day traders are saying they're managing their trades, and it's not management. What you're doing is you enter with the purpose, and then you start to evaluate the trade. You're not managing the trade. You're asking, is it moving like I thought it would? Should I hold this trade? Maybe I entered too early. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. And then you call it management, and that's not management. I'm here to break down what managing a trade actually is. When you say, oh, I'm managing a trade, I'm managing being in this trade, what you're actually talking about is logistics. You're making sure that you click the right contract type, that you're in the right position, that you bought the right expiration, that you bought market if you wanted to, or you bought limit if you wanted to, that you're not pressing the wrong buttons, that you're not on the wrong app, that your Wi-Fi is not going out, all those logistics, right? But you're protecting yourself physically and technically from the market. That's what managing a trade is. Everything else, all the thoughts you have, all the mental loops that you have in your head, maybe I should do the should I move my stop? All that is evaluation. Why are you evaluating a purpose inside of a trade? That's evaluation, and you cannot afford to confuse that with management, because you really shouldn't be evaluating a trade while you're already in it. You should have done that before you pressed enter. And if you want a full system on how to separate evaluation from management and stop second guessing mid-trade, check the private training. It is linked in the description box, also pinned in the comment section. Because if you're an experienced trader, you're overqualified for the trading you're doing. That is 99% of the case. You know a little bit too much. You're a little bit too advanced. It's taken a simple topic of calls and puts and added a whole bunch of noise on top of it. You see patterns that don't matter for your time frame. You see charts that literally are not relevant for you. You know exactly what could happen, all the possibilities, and your brain thinks you're managing a trade. And you're literally just second guessing yourself and calling it managing a trade. It's not. And that's why when you can't let go of a trade, exiting feels impossible, because your position gets diluted, because your purpose got diluted. So I'm going to give you a very quick example. You say you're a scalper. Your job is to read volatility, enter on expansion, maybe a 1 minute candle, quick in and out. Your exit criteria is very simple. There's no volatility, I exit the trade. It's very straightforward, very clear, purpose driven. So now imagine you start looking at the 1 hour chart or the 4 hour chart mid trade. Suddenly, the scalp that you were taking is going to turn into swing. Maybe I should hold it overnight. Maybe I should hold it a few more hours. Your exit criteria no longer matches your entry. You entered for a scalp and now you're swinging. So you're holding on a higher time frame with this story in your head, and your internal, let's even call it your gut feeling, right? Is saying, get out of the trade. What are you doing? And your mind says, no, I'm going to wait. And it starts evaluating. And what actually happened is attachment and fear and overholding and blown accounts. All because the purpose of your entry is no longer there. It got muddled under all the noise. Another trap that happens to a lot of day traders is watching the wrong traders. You might watch a swinger who's preaching patience, and then you're watching some investors preaching conviction, and then you're watching some leaders preaching let winners run, like leaders as in people that are super popular, got a lot of followers, whatever. And you think, okay, I'm going to use that logic, but you're a scalper, so that logic is literally deadly for you. Your body is like, I don't want to be in this trade. But your mind says, no, it's got to work. They said hold it. They said do this. They said do that. And because you respect those people, now you freeze and you hold it and you lose and you blow your account. It's not because your strategy doesn't work. It's not because you're weak. And it's not because your edge is bad. It's literally because the instructions are conflicted. So how do you fix this? 4 steps. And I want you to rewrite them in the comments. Number 1, clarify your purpose before you enter a trade. What are you trading for? What are the outcomes that complete this job? What will make this trade successful for me? Number 2, structure your exit around that purpose that you just did in step number 1. Don't structure around the chart or your ego or rules from a book or from a person that you listen to. Structure it around your purpose from your brain. Your purpose is going to say, scalp volatility, I exit when there's no volatility. Then the exit is literally obvious, and there's zero friction, zero guilt, zero panic. You will exit on time every time. No longer holding trades you shouldn't be holding. For that exit that felt so impossible is no longer impossible. Step number 3 is logistical management only. So making sure that you're not evaluating and calling it managing. You buy the right contracts, you buy the right order type, you press the right buttons, you have your risk protected, whether that's $1,000 per trade, $500 per trade, $2,000 per trade, whatever it is, you have that protection. And then everything else, the mental loops and the stories and the thoughts and all the other things, you just observe them happening, but you don't actually have to act on them, because all those things are evaluation, and you do not want to confuse it with management. You can't afford to mix it up with management. And if you want me to show you exactly how to write a purpose-based exit criteria for every trade, so your losers never spiral, because one loss does not have to turn into a blown account. One trade that you lose on should never turn into a spiral, period. Should never turn into a blown account. That's unnecessary. So now let's talk about the phase that is probably destroying accounts faster than anything else. You enter on one strategy and you think in another. So you're entering, your action is different than your thoughts. You're a scalper thinking like a swinger, or a swinger thinking like a scalper, or you're a trader thinking about portfolios and news and targets and macros and multi time frames. Doesn't make sense. So what's happening now is you're playing a different game than the one you signed up for. Exits feel wrong. Losses are going to feel wrong, and you're going to hold them forever, because holding a loser feels heroic, because that's what's playing in your head. And then your account dies and you blow your account because you created an internal conflict between your actions and your thinking. Here's the reality every day trader who is blown an account needs to hear. It's not discipline. It's not willpower. It's not, oh, you just gotta cut it. When it's going bad, you gotta cut it. When it hits 10%, just cut it. No, it doesn't work that way. Purpose under your clarity under risk is what helps you to cut a trade. Your edge is fine. Your strategy is fine. We're not changing your strategy. We're not changing all the tools. You're simply executing a different trade mid thought than you signed up for. You're doing something different than you signed up for. What's happening is you're supposed to be thinking something aligned with your actions, but they're not aligned right now. So you're thinking something different mid trade because you're not doing what you signed up for. So once you fix that, everything else is going to fall into place. Let's bring this closer to home while we understand this point deeper with step number 4, as promised. Identify your strategy type and then stick to its logic. So if you're a scalper, you trade volatility, you ignore long-term targets, you ignore narratives, and what you're going to focus on is impulse and speed and candlestick strength and volatility. And you exit when volatility fades. Swingers, you're going to trade structure. You're going to trade a higher time frame. You're going to use targets and invalidation zones. And you're going to be patient. And you're going to exit at your purpose fulfillment whenever your trade is over. Mixing these two trades mid-trade is lethal. And you're probably going to keep blowing accounts if you don't stop. So if you want the full breakdown of scalper versus swinger mindset, including my exact volatility based criteria, it is in my private training. The link is in the description. Step number 5, I want you to log your trades and reflect purposely. I'm going to give you some things to exactly do right now. Before each trade, ask, what is my trading job today? What does it look like if I complete this trade successfully? What is the logistical management versus mental evaluation I've been doing? Write those things down. Review it before every single trade. Execute it. Do it consistently. And suddenly you can cut your losses. All of a sudden, it's not painful. All of a sudden, trades don't feel personal. All of a sudden, you stop blowing accounts. All of a sudden, your losses become $100 instead of $1,000. It's crazy. So what's happening is now you're no longer fighting yourself, because remember, your strategy is not failing. Stop changing the strategy. Stop changing the equity. Stop changing futures to options and options to futures and crypto. Stop doing all that. You're not unlucky. Nobody's trying to take your money from you. No one cares about your $10,000 month. Nobody cares. You're simply executing different in that trade. Mid-trade, you're thinking and doing something different than the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Once you fix that, your blowups are going to stop.